Ask those of you that would like to join us to please stand and make the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd now like to call to order the April 19th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Regents. Please call the roll.
Regent Latoro?
Here.
Molina?
Here.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Here.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny? Regent O'Connor? Regent Schaefer?
Here.
Regent Shear?
Here.
Regent Stark?
Here.
Regent Whites?
Here.
Regent Wilmot?
Here.
A quorum is present.
Included in your materials is a copy of the minutes from our March 20th, 2024 meeting. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes? Roll call, please.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
In compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, the board has posted a copy of the act near the south entrance of the boardroom. Okay. At the beginning of each Board of Regents meeting, we take time to recognize those persons who all too often don't receive the recognition that they deserve. The Board of Regents believes it is vitally important that we acknowledge your commitment as well as your contributions to the university. As the kudos recipients are announced, please come to the podium and join the regent making the presentation. Following each presentation, we will take a picture that will appear on our website. The interim president, chancellor, recipient's family, and supporters are invited to join the photo. Our first kudos recipient is Sean Linneman from the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and the award will be presented by Regent Molina.
On behalf of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents, it is my pleasure to recognize UNK Kudos Award recipient Sean Lineman, Senior Workstation Support Specialist for Client Services in the Division of Information Technology Services. Sean's position is described as having dual roles. In one, he provides primary technology support for the College of Education. Quote, unmatched technical support, says Dean of Education Mark Reed, due to his, quote, vast technical understanding and the ability to work with people with a variety of technical knowledge. He supports, implements, researches, and designs all technology within the college. He is the primary contact for AV projects, digital signage implementations, print server management, SharePoint and Teams support and design, and EMS web scheduling. In a second role, he works with the main ITS desktop support group and with fellow college techs to provide efficiencies and specific campus support. Sean is on everyone's call list when tech help is needed. Sean earned his baccalaureate degree in Management of Information Systems and his MBA from UNK. After 3 years in ITS as a student, he began to work as a full-time employee in 2013. Important contributions to two significant ITS migrations include the unified network implementation and Box to SharePoint, assuring that the needs of each building, department, and college were met. He works with students new to UNK's Kearney Health Opportunities Program, or KHOP, and Thompson Scholar Programs. His service is invaluable on committees such as the College of Education Technology Committee, ITS Strategic Sourcing Committee, ITS Computer Standards Evaluation Committee, and others. He's a previous recipient of the UNK Employee Achievement Award and the UNK Technology Excellence Award. With Sean today is Supervisor and Chief Information Officer, Andrea Childress. Thank you, Sean. What you do each day matters, and the university is a better place because of you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sean. Regent Petchus will now present the Kudos Award to Mindy Liebelt from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
The Board of Regents is pleased to present a Kudos Award to Mindy Liebelt, Outreach Specialist for the Center on Children, Families, and Law. An invaluable asset to the Center, Mindy oversees social media accounts, annual reports, physical space, and all branding efforts. She embodies the Center's mission of helping the helpers, consistently going above and beyond to support the team. Mindy excels her daily tasks and constantly seeks ways to improve office efficiency and accessibility. Her positive attitude shines with a smile and cheerful greeting every morning. Mindy's attention to detail is evident in the office space, which she has made warm and inviting with personal touches, plants, flowers, and other thoughtful decorations. One nominator gave her high praise, stating, "Mindy is our outreach specialist, doing an amazing job spreading the word about every project housed at our center. There's nothing she can't do. She's often the first person who greets faculty, staff, and guests to our office, beautifully balancing everything it takes to make our office run smoothly. She never hesitates to assist in other assigned tasks and always takes the time to let others know that they are appreciated." Another nominator expressed, "Mindy has exceptional vision for marketing and branding of CCFL and has elevated our visibility and the level of professionalism with which our work is promoted through social media and our annual report. It looks amazing." Joining Mindy today are Director Dr. Eve Brink, Shelley Johnson, the Training Administrator and Supervisor, Lori Velker, Curriculum Assistant, and colleague Amanda Gebhardt, a Training Specialist. So please join me in thanking Mindy Liebelt for her dedication to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Congratulations, Mindy. Regent Schultes will now present the Kudos Award to Amber Hawk from the University of Nebraska Medical Center.
On behalf of the Board of Regents, I am pleased to present a Kudos Award to Amber Hawk, Director of Recruitment and Admissions in the UNMC College of Pharmacy. Amber is a steadfast and critical member of the College of Pharmacy. The scope of her service to both the PharmD and Pharmaceutical Sciences graduate programs require her to continually assess operational workflow to become more efficient. This has resulted in innovation and streamlined approaches that expedite admissions decisions. She was instrumental in creating a distribution system for new scholarship monies and the development of new pathway programs with Hastings College and has improved the number of students matriculating to both programs. One nominator said, "Amber has become a go-to person for students and faculty at our partnering institutions and within the Big Ten." Another said, "She connects and empathizes with nervous students and puts them at ease. She is the best first impression for prospective students. Her nature is a big reason our students choose us." After students enroll, Amber learns each person's names and connects with them. Former and prior enrollees commonly stop by her office and visit with her. Amber is a big part of these students' lives throughout their UNMC journey, one nominator said. Today, Amber is joined by her husband, Philip Hawk, and Drew Prescott, her supervisor. Join me in thanking Amber for her innovative spirit, personal connections with the students, and tireless commitment to the College of Pharmacy's recruitment and admission processes, all of which are critical to building Nebraska's workforce. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Amber. Jason Jones from UNO is our final kudos recipient today, and his award will be presented by Regent Latoro.
Board of Regents is pleased to present a kudos award to Jason Jones, Building Services Manager for the Barbara Whites Community Engagement Center and the Samuel Bach Museum, the Learning Center at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Dr. Julie Dierberger, Chief Engagement Officer at UNO, says that Jason goes above and beyond to provide excellent care and support for the Barbara Whites Community Engagement Center and the Samuel Bach Museum, the Learning Center. He has taken on additional leadership in the facilities management of both spaces and comes up with innovative ways to address problems and meet the needs of stakeholders. Both of these venues are dedicated to bringing people together from the UNO campus and community to learn and collaborate. Jason leads a team to curate an inclusive, welcoming space that saw almost 70,000 campus visitors last year. He has been creative with the space and helped to bring the Red Line exhibit to the White CEC, even coming in on the weekends to help hang the exhibit. Jason is truly selfless in his role and an incredible advocate for UNO and the community. Jason's ability to operationalize such exhibits in these spaces has led to increased interest in the community partnerships. By providing this opportunity for creativity and critical thinking, he opened up doors for UNO to meet our metropolitan mission. Please join me in thanking Jason for his dedication to the University of Nebraska, Omaha. And as a veteran, we would also like to thank Jason for his service to our country.
Congratulations, Jason. While our kudos guests are most welcome to stay and observe the balance of our meeting, if you wish to leave, we will take no offense, and you may do so at this time. Thank you for joining us. This is our last regular board meeting for our student regents. In keeping with tradition, we will present resolutions in recognition of their contributions and service to the university and to the Board of Regents. After the presenting regent reads your resolution, we will take a photo. Following the photo, you are invited to make brief remarks, followed by our favorite tradition, the singing of each campus's fight song. Our first resolution honors Timo Molina from the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and the resolution will be presented by Regent Wilmot.
Whereas Timo Molina has served with distinction as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and president of the Associated Students of the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and whereas Regent Molina's dedicated, trustworthy, and approachable leadership has earned him the trust and respect of students, faculty, and administration, and whereas Regent Molina has provided consistent, measured dedication to the issues facing the university and its students, and has fostered quality dialogue between university administration and students. And whereas Regent Molina has broadly represented the students of UNK and has served as an effective advocate both substantially and descriptively, and whereas Regent Molina professionally approached sensitive topics, namely budget challenges and a robust presidential search, and presented these and other issues to the student body with an informed understanding of the difficulties and opportunities, and whereas through his work with UNK student government to renew focus on responsible stewardship, direct resources toward student initiative, and utilize dormant pandemic allocations, Regent Molina was successful in approving funding for student events, campus safety, sustainability, promotion, and facilities. And whereas Regent Molina's personal background as a first-generation Latino student allowed him to effectively represent underrepresented students, and whereas Regent Molina has been humbled to hear students tell him that their service and their witness of him in the role as student regent has given them hope and inspiration to become leaders themselves. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the University of Nebraska Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation for the exemplary contributions of Regent Timo Molina during his term of office and wishes him well in the promising future that awaits him.
All right, we're going to do a photo in the middle before you sing and do your remarks, because otherwise we get so excited that you run off.
All right.
This is extremely humbling. I didn't prepare anything written. It's all in an outline because I wanted this to come from a place that I meant it from. The only feeling that comes to mind is gratitude, first and foremost, for the opportunity to serve alongside you and to represent all Nebraska students, as I'm reminded, not just the thousands of students at Kearney, but the nearly 50,000 students from all of our campuses. I'll keep my remarks brief, and I think the way that it's best encapsulated is from an experience I had early on in a history class, where our professor referred to us as student colleagues. We had a lot to learn from the professor, but the professor also had a lot to learn from us. There was a clear relationship established where we were mutuals, and I didn't think I'd have a similar experience again until I came to the board. I felt like your student colleague. I'm very grateful and respectful of the fact that you've listened to student input and that you've treated us like one of your own, despite cycling through student regents year after year. I couldn't be more thankful and more humbled to receive this opportunity, and I can't wait to see what the board does next in our future student regents. So thank you so much.
Now let the fun begin.
Fun begin. Do I get background music? No?
Grab your Kearney colleagues and see if they'll support you for
I
some
need some
background.
support from my Kearney colleagues at the very least. I'm looking in the back. Kelly stood up. Kelly has my back. I'm looking at John, other John. I need you two up here.
Julie, Doug.
You know the words?
I have the words.
I'm going to sing from there.
Dr. Ekstrom, come on up. You have the
We can hum.
lyrics. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can start. Okay. All right, ready? One fight for UNK. Victory all the way. But the fighting spirit will always cheer. That's what we're here for. That's what we cheer for. Like blue and gold. Cheer for the blue and the gold. And together we stand. Singing EARNEK.
They don't know it.
Our next resolution honors Paul Petches from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and the resolution will be presented by Regent Shear.
Well, after that song, the bar is really low.
Thank you, Jim.
It's truly my pleasure and honor to recognize Paul. Paul and I sort of sit in our own little world over here, and for the last year I've gotten to know each other, and I've learned to admire. And the resolution is as follows. Whereas Paul Pecos has served with distinction as a member of the Board of Regents and as president of the Association of Students of the University of Nebraska for the 2023-2024 term. And whereas the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and the University of Nebraska system has experienced significant changes and challenges throughout the past year, including welcoming a new chancellor and vice chancellors, searching for a next president, facing budgetary deficits, navigating international conflicts. And whereas Regent Pecos has demonstrated dedication, effective leadership, unwavering commitment to addressing these challenges and advancing the interests of UNL students and the UNL community as a whole. And whereas Regent Pecos has exemplified the values of collaboration, transparency, and intentional inclusion in his service on the board and as president of ASUN, fostering strong partnerships with students, student organizations, administrators, and campus partners. And whereas Regent Pecos has been instrumental in spearheading initiatives aimed at enhancing campus security and safety, including continuing conversations of offering safe, late-night ride for students, increasing mental health resources through the Green Bandana Project, and improving academic opportunities for students while also advocating for the financial stability and well-being of ASUN and the university. And whereas Regent Pecos has played a pivotal role in elevating the student voice within the university structure, championing collaborative initiatives to empower students and amplify their perspectives and decision-making processes. And whereas Regent Pecos is committed to increasing the services offered to students, including the creation of a shuttle program between area airports and UNL campuses before and after breaks. And whereas through thoughtful and effective leadership, Regent Pecos has represented his 24,000 fellow Huskers to the best of his ability. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Regents expresses their sincere appreciation for Regent Paul Pecos' dedicated service and effective leadership as a member of the board and wishes him well in all his future endeavors.
I brought some friends with me.
Those are good friends.
Perhaps you should have your new athletic director up there with you.
Oh, yeah. You want to come? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes. All right, so thank you, everyone. We'll get to our fight song here in a second. But before we start, I just want to say thank you so much to this board. This is really kind of bittersweet. We reflected on it on campus on Wednesday night. But standing before you this morning, it's really been an honor of a lifetime to be part of this board and to be part of a student at this university. I'm forever grateful for everything this university has offered to me and just for being able to stand here before you. There's so many people I could thank. Each of you, I want to thank you personally for your friendship, your mentorship. Chancellor Bennett, all the administrators at UNL, Phil, you've been very, very helpful this year. So there's so many people I could thank, but just know that each of you has my sincere gratitude. So we've faced a lot of challenges this year. I think Temo kind of touched on some of them, but these challenges have resulted in a lot of opportunities for us. And I've been so proud to have been part of a group that takes challenges head on and moves forward. So from a budget shortfall to selecting our next leader of our university system, it's been an exciting year of growth. On campus, we've welcomed a number of new faces, Chancellor Bennett, some of our vice chancellors. But one of my favorite parts of this year, and as president of the student body and as student regent, was welcoming the 4,500 new freshmen to campus. It's just a special time on campus, and it's a moment that I'll always remember opening the gates with Dr. Bennett. So if there's anything I can take away from this year, it's that relationships really matter. I'm so proud of the strong relationships and collaborations that we've made this year, and I couldn't be more excited for the future of this university. So this morning I feel grateful. To my fellow Huskers, thank you. To all of the NU students, thank you. And to members of the board, our staff, faculty, and administrators, thank you. And to my student regents, thank you. It's been a really fun year, and I look forward to watching the university do great things. So this is the Bathtub Dogs, everybody. This is, do one of you want to introduce yourselves?
Hey everyone, we are the Bathtub Dogs. We're the all tenor baritone based a cappella group here at the university, and we're so excited to do this with Paul, yes.
So full disclosure, we've not practiced together, but it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Good.
There is no place like Nebraska. There is no place like Nebraska. Dear old Nebraska, where the girls are the fairest, the boys are the squarest of any old school that I knew. There is no place like Nebraska, where we're all true blue. We'll all stick together in all kinds of weather for dear old Nebraska, Go Big Red! Go Big Red! Go Big Red! Go Big Red!
Thank you all. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Paul.
Have a nice morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's my birthday today, too.
Oh. We're singing happy birthday. Let's go ahead and sing happy birthday to No, seriously. Let's do it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Paul. Happy birthday to you.
Well, I'm honored to introduce Katie here. Katie Schultes has served as a member of the Board of Regents and as president of the University of Nebraska Medical Center Student Senate during the 2023-24 term, and whereas Regent Schultes represented herself, her institution, and her fellow students with dignity, integrity during board meetings and events, and has served as a vocal and unwavering advocate for students throughout UNMC and the university system. Whereas during her time as a student at UNMC, Regent Schultes has held multiple campus leadership roles beyond the student body president, regent, and while balancing the demands of medical school, including serving as public advocate for the university in person and on multiple media platforms. And if I may add, having taught medical students and residents, you would be in the top 1% ever. And the greatest honor, I think, is that Katie is going to go on to the Mayo Clinic for a 5-year residency in urology. It doesn't get any better than that. Whereas Regent Schultes spearheaded a renaissance of school spirit at UNMC, leading initiatives to create an official UNMC mascot, Go Labs, and school fight song, which you'll be singing in a minute. Whereas the UNMC Student Senate, under her leadership, hosted several college-specific town halls, including the first town hall with College of Allied Health Professions, to identify common student issues that the Senate worked on and continues to work on with administration to address. And whereas the UNMC Student Senate, under her leadership, hosted more than 20 student events. You've been busy. To foster interdisciplinary interactions in community and help fund 22 student organization initiatives and events through BOSS, which is the benefiting organizations through Student Senate proposals. And whereas Regent Schultes is herself a shining example of the talent that can be mined through our university's Rural Opportunities Program, having come from rural Nebraska, yes, matriculated through to the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and then to UNMC through its Kearney Health Opportunities Program. She has presented to our board on rural health care and on rural health education tracks. I know that your chancellor is very proud of you for that. Whereas Regent Schultes has served on the Presidential Search Advisory Committee, you played a great role there, playing a key role setting the course for our university's future. Now, be it resolved that the Board of Regents express its sincere appreciation for Regent Katie Schultes' dedication, service, and effective leadership as a member of the Board of Regents, and wishes her the success in all of her future endeavors. Congratulations, Katie.
I was like slightly tearing up at that, even though they gave it to me ahead of time, so I don't know what's happening. Thank you all, seriously. All of the regents, the student regents, the administrators, as you guys know, and as you probably noticed from me singing the UNK fight song, I went to Kearney, so it's kind of a full circle moment. Go Lobes, go Labs. This is Labs. I keep trying to get that started. It hasn't really yet. But to see, you know, my old chancellor, my new, my former previous chancellor, to work with Dr. Gold so closely, and to work with all of the great administration at UNMC. A lot of them are here. It's just, you don't realize how many people you have in your corner until you're here. To kind of give a little story, I guess, the thing I remember probably the most about being on the board is the day that I found out I'm matched. We actually had a board event, and these guys were the first people to kind of congratulate me and just really love on me, and it's just phenomenal. It's more than, you know, coworkers. You do become a family. So thank you all. Again, I don't know why I'm crying. We are going to sing our brand new fight song, and hopefully it goes okay. So let's do that now.
I can't read music.
Everybody.
I like their hats.
Music?
Do we have that
Yeah, we can use
resolution?
it.
That resolution off to somebody else.
You've got your ready. Okay.
That's scary. You're good. You got it down? In Nebraska, healing we bring. In Nebraska, our voices ring. Healing the best with precision and flair. Serious medicine and extraordinary care. We got the bark, bark, bark. We got the fight. We'll leave a mark. We'll do things right. Nobody beats. We're off city and unity of UNMC Labs. Go Labs! We tried.
final Regent resolution honors Hakeem Latoro from the University of Nebraska at Omaha and will be presented by Regent Whites.
You got the music.
Very proud to. Oops. Hakeem has conscientiously served as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents and the president of the University of Nebraska at Omaha Student Government Association for the 2023-2024 term. And whereas during his time as a student at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, Hakeem has made it a priority to engage students from diverse backgrounds, helping to create an environment of shared governance. Whereas in his leadership role as a member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents, Hakeem Latoro has formed impactful relationships with his fellow students and with regents. He has a soft voice, but he doesn't carry a big stick, so we're safe. Hakeem has president challenged the status quo and evaluated valuable insights he gained from his conversations from students to leadership. And whereas during his tenure, he has taken decisive actions, challenged the status quo, and elevated valuable insights he gained from his conversations. Whereas during his tenure, he has taken decisive actions, can listen to the concerns of others. He's a very wonderful listener. And leverage community and campus resources to support various stakeholders navigating their collegiate experience. And whereas during his term as president, Hakeem Latoro led UNO's Student Government Association with confidence, with open conversations with his constituents, and ensuring that all people on campus are heard and feel empowered to use their voice. Whereas through a commitment to inclusivity, advocacy, and the desire to make positive change, Regent Hakeem Latoro has made impactful strides in supporting the long-term success of UNO and its administration, its faculty, its staff, and its students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the University of Nebraska Board of Regents thank Hakeem for his time, for his service to the University of Nebraska, and we wish him the very best in his future endeavors.
You didn't expect me to see.
Thanks, Hakeem. You've been great.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I heard that we were singing the fight song. I did not hear that we had the opportunity to give remarks. So this is a little bit off the cuff, but similar to Temo, this will come from the heart. And I do want to first acknowledge that getting to a position like this is a very unbelievable thing for me. It's a incomprehensible idea at times, and I'm constantly reminded of, there the mic goes, okay, and I'm constantly reminded of how much help I've had to receive to get to this point. I'm constantly seeing faces of people who every hour I've questioned and challenged and forced to work harder than they otherwise would, and at every opportunity I've been greeted with, well, few opportunities that I won't count, but at every other opportunity, I've been greeted with with deference, with patience, with kindness. And I've been given the opportunity to grow in spaces where we're moving at 100 miles an hour. And I think that the level of care that it takes to allow that kind of growth, and the level of care that it takes to accept, challenge, and to allow people to grow alongside you in a way that you might not fully agree with. I think that that's an incredibly powerful thing, and the board has taught me an incredible amount about my ability to work with others and my ability to learn how to be in just deliberative bodies in general, but more bodies that are diverse in thought. And I think that I've spent a lot of time trying to familiarize myself with people of many different backgrounds and of many different lifestyles. And now the board is giving me the opportunity to also practice doing the same with thought. And I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity. But I'm beyond incredibly grateful for the support my students have given me, for the support the campus has given me. Words can't describe. I want to say thank you, and also thank you to my mom, thank you to the academy, thank you, and all of that aspects. With that, I will stop dragging along, and I'll look around and see that I believe we have copies passed around already.
Uh-oh, I better go.
So I'm not sure how we plan on doing.
We can come.
Music, wonderful.
Fight, fight, fight for our Mavericks. We will fight, fight, fight for our team. Everyone knows that when the whistle blows, we will shout, we will yell, we will scream, go Mavs! We will fight, fight, fight for our Mavericks. We will cheer so all fans will know. Be it win, lose or draw, everyone's from Omaha. We will fight for UNO. UNO! 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 All right, today marks the end of an era. Chancellor Doug Christensen will be stepping down as chancellor at the University of Kearney next month. As such, today will be his last board meeting at the Board of Regents, and Regent Kinney will be offering a resolution on behalf of the board to show its gratitude and recognition of Doug's contributions and service to the University of Nebraska.
It is my honor to do this to an individual that no one in the University of Nebraska has matched. Whereas Doug Christensen has served as chancellor of the University of Nebraska for 22 years, making him the longest-serving chancellor in the history of the University of Nebraska. Whereas Chancellor Christensen came to UNK following a distinguished tenure in the Nebraska legislature, including service as a speaker. It is among the leaders of the most successful legislative effort to bring UNK into the university system. Chancellor Christensen is a passionate champion for the value of affordability, quality higher education, and the vital role the University of Nebraska plays in the growth and success of the state, particularly the rural communities. Whereas Chancellor Christensen has overseen a dramatic renewal of UNK campus, including the university's public-private partnership to develop what would be the largest rural health education center in the country, to be fittingly named the honor and transformational initiative that will impact rural healthcare, workforce, and the quality of life of generations to come. Whereas UNK has experienced a significant additional facility upgrades under Chancellor Christensen's leadership, including the University Village, student housing, the Planbeck Childhood Center, athletic investment, the STEM education building, the student union, dining facilities, library, and many, many more. Whereas Chancellor Christensen has made a priority from day one to build strong relationships across UNK and the broader Kearney community, is well known and respected among students, faculty, staff, and in the community there. Whereas an alum and lifelong Nebraskan, Chancellor Christensen walks the walk when it comes to the mission and value of the University of Nebraska, having sent both of his daughters to the university for a combined 5 degrees, including degrees from every campus in the university system. Whereas both the University of Nebraska and the state of Nebraska have benefited greatly from his leadership, service, and commitment of Chancellor Christensen and his family. Now, therefore, may it be resolved that the Board of Regents extends its deepest gratitude to Chancellor Christensen for a lifelong devoted public service to the state of Nebraska and wish him, Terry, and their family all the best in their next chapter.
You know, I knew this day was coming. I just didn't know it was going to be today. Last night was a very meaningful event for me. The members of the board who had a nice farewell for me that was, I think, thoughtful, and it was certainly appreciated by myself and my family, and it was meaningful to us. Thank you very much, the kind words. President Kaborik, Chairman Schaefer, your kind words were very much appreciated. Last night, I think, was a personal farewell. This morning, I think, is a little different. To me, one of the great holes in my life in terms of service, I never got a chance to say goodbye to the legislature. I got selected after session was out, and I never got a chance to tell my colleagues and the people I worked with how much they really meant. I'm going to change that today with the university. I think this is my expression of an appreciation for a lifetime for me, for the education I received from the university, and the small part I've been able to play in great students like Temo and Katie. How would you have a better job? It's really been tremendous. So I want to thank a few people, my fellow chancellors. They've been great to work with. They provide me with inspiration. Their jobs are really hard. They're harder than my job. They have complex institutions to run. Yeah, UNK is complex. But I have a lot of admiration for the three of you and what you do and how you do it. And I particularly want to say thank you to Jeff for the partnership that our two campuses have had. It's been tremendous. With me today are my vice chancellors and cabinet. They don't like sitting beside each other. Thank you so much for coming. They make me look 10 times better than I am. Really, they're wonderful people, and I'm sure they're going to continue to work for the university, and we will be well served by that. The staff, particularly Bev, that I work at, they're at home working right now. I've spent every day of my university life with Bev Matheson. She's been the best. Chris is sitting here to my side. Chris, thank you. You've been a wonderful faculty senate president, but I think you represent all the great faculty that I've had the honor to serve with. They were really patient with me, particularly those first few years when I had no clue what I was doing. I see some Varner Hall staff here. I want to say thank you to them as well. They, sometimes out of sight, out of mind isn't very helpful to them, and they've all been really, really great to work with, and I will miss them. When I was Speaker of the Legislature, we kind of rekindled these regular visits with the Board of Regents, and I enjoyed that. And so we had a chance to regularly come and, as I said last night, go to a lot of dinners with the board. But as I look at the board this morning, it's a pleasure to serve with you. It was a pleasure to serve with your predecessors, every one of you. And all but two of you, I served with your predecessors. And of those two, that was my last 2 years as Speaker, and I was here a lot with them. You all have the same thing in common. Deep down, you care about students. That's crucial. I fell in love with the campus 22 years ago. They had tremendous patience for a lawyer who did not grow up in the academy. I have tremendous respect for that faculty and the skill that they have. Their experience with students runs like this. Whatever disagreement we have, and we have our share, is easily solved by one thing. What's in the best interest of the student? That solves those problems. I'm so proud of that approach. I think UNK is a crown jewel. My hope is that you will help it to continue to be a crucial part, particularly for rural Nebraska. I know you will, and I know you have to balance lots of issues. But never forget that rural Nebraska has some of the brightest students too, and they will do really, really well for this state. It's been the honor of my life to be able to work in what I think are the two most important institutions in the state of Nebraska. Particularly as a farm kid from Minden, who, kind of a long shot. But it's the university that I think you should stop and pause and think about every once in a while as the most important institution. You changed the life of one individual, me. You changed the life of my wife and my 2 daughters. But what I hope you keep in mind is that you change the lives and allow the institutions to change the lives of thousands of students every day. Every day. And yeah, we all dwell on the 1% of the problems and the negatives, and we tend to forget that 99% of what we do every day is tremendous for students. It's tremendous for the state of Nebraska. Why do we dwell on the negative when the positive is so good? And I think that's what I will take with me, that you've changed not only my life, but many others. And it's a small, small token for me to say thank you this morning, but I really mean it. Thanks for the honor of a lifetime.
We're going to go a little bit off script here, and I'm going to open it up to the board to make any comments and recognition and direct them toward Chancellor Christensen. I see Jack reaching. There you go, Regent Stark.
Well, I would just comment. I grew up a few miles down the road. We used to play Minden in sports, and 22, well, sometimes, but I can't believe what's happened to Kearney, and particularly Kearney University, what you've done, how it started out. 22 years is remarkable, and I would tell you, many of us, all those students, will remember you for life. You've made a difference in a lot of people. Thank you. Thank you.
Regent Shear.
Well, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank Doug. We have so much in common. We both serve in the legislature, we both were speaker, and one of the honors of being a speaker is you have a speaker's luncheon every year, and you invite all past speakers to dine with you, and I would tell you it is a mentoring event to sit around the table with those people. And I learned a lot, especially from Doug. And we both have a deep desire of the university system as a whole. Each individual gem of that crown is important to a different part of the state and to individuals, and should be treated equally with the same respect and love that we do for every other. He will be missed, and unfortunately, that's the end of what we share. But so it wasn't a long list, but it's a very important list. So thank you very much, Doug.
Chancellor Lee.
I'd like to be on the record. On behalf of University of Nebraska Omaha, we congratulate Chancellor Christensen on his outstanding leadership. He will be missed sorely. And when I first came 3 years ago, visited all campus, while Dr. Goh treated me to a steak dinner, Chancellor Christensen spent 3 hours with me, very generously. He is a genuine, wise man. He's very kind. And under his mentorship, I have been able to learn a lot about University of Nebraska system. And I'm proud to call him friend. I am happy to be included and really grateful to be included in many of his family occasions and events. So thank you for your wonderful friendship and mentorship. So on behalf of UNO, congratulations, Chancellor Christensen.
Chancellor Gold.
Well, thank you. And, I reflect that the first time Doug and I ever met was the day after former President Milliken announced that he was moving to New York. And Doug and I spoke on the phone, and the friendship, the relationship, the support, the camaraderie that ensued for the next decade plus has been absolutely amazing. His partnership in building the future for healthcare in rural Nebraska as an exemplar to the rest of the nation is unparalleled, and the credit really goes to him for all of that which has happened and all of that which will happen in the future. And finally, it is my great pleasure to congratulate him on the next step in his new career. As you may or may not know, he was just certified as an executive PGA golf official. Absolutely true, folks. And that will be an amazing step forward. I look forward to seeing you at the Masters and who knows where else in the future. So most sincerely to you and Terry, Doug, thank you for everything. You have changed this university and you have changed this state, and it will be a very bright future for all. Thank you.
Chancellor Bennett.
Chancellor, we love you, UNL, and we are all better because of your love of public higher education in the state of Nebraska. Thank you, sir.
Regent Molina.
So again, on behalf of the students, Chancellor, thank you. Both professionally and personally, you meant a lot to students. You have your group of chancellors, ambassadors, and every time I speak with one of them and your name comes up, there's always a smile that comes across their face. And, well, maybe to embarrass you just a little bit, there is one chancellor's ambassador with a pair of Doug Christensen socks. And so it's not just the professional, but the personal. You work in the best interests of our students, but you also take a special care when you interact with them. And that was reflected when at our student government inauguration, we got to congratulate you and thank you one last time. So on behalf of the thousands of students on our Kearney campus, thank you so much.
Wilmot?
Well, you probably don't even remember, but my first glimpses and experiences with you was when you were in the legislature, and I would come and talk about the issues that were important to Nebraska Eagle Forum and parents, et cetera. So I appreciated you then, but getting to know you as a chancellor is just astounding, I guess, to me. And I'm going to get teary, but the day you took me on the tour of the campus, that was such a highlight, just to see your interactions with students, the genuineness that was there, the care, the concern, and for all the great things that you've accomplished and done that many of us never get to. But you've never forgotten your roots. You've never forgotten what Western Nebraska needs and how important it is to the future of this state and how important young people are to that future. And I hope you keep a coffee pot at your house, because I just may stop by and ask for a nice hot cup of coffee. But I do thank you for just the little time that I've been with you in this particular piece of your life. I've really appreciated that, your friendship, and yes, your willingness to help and reach out. Thank you.
Regent Kinney?
Just to be clear, the Chancellor's father and my father served together on Farm Credit Board a long time ago, and that tells you about the service that was in his blood to take care of Central Nebraska. Best friend of mine came back to a law firm in Kearney, and so did Terry Harder, and that's how I got to really to know him, better, part of that, and I just beg you to get one of those girls to at least move back to Central Nebraska to continue the service that the Christensen started for many, many years. Thank you, sir.
Regent Weiss? Put you on the spot.
Before I became a regent, when I was considering becoming a regent, I realized I'd never been to UNK. So I went out to UNK, and they offered a student to give me a tour. And it was a master's level student, which was to me news because I didn't realize you had master's students. So I was learning immediately. But the thing that struck me, this student's family moved here from Mexico, and he had been quite anxious about going to college at all, wasn't sure it was the right thing. And he was now a master's student, and he said it was because the campus became a family to him. He felt it in every aspect of his life at UNK, and he felt like you had created a culture of acceptance and love and appreciation and care. And immediately I was like, wow, I don't need to see a building. I am so thrilled that we have a campus that a student would talk about in that way. So thank you for the culture you created there.
All right, I'll make a few comments here, and then I know President Kavorik will make some comments when we turn the meeting over to him for further business. But I guess one of the few things I remember about Doug is, just his caring, his ability to be able to relate with anybody regardless of their background, and most importantly, he is always willing to spend his time. In life we only have finite amounts of time or money or whatever the case might be, but at the end of the day, the time is probably our most precious commodity, and how we spend that and spending it wisely is probably the most one of the most critical things we can do in life is how do we spend our time. And Doug has chosen a life of spending it, giving it to others. And at the end of the day, if we had a billboard in Nebraska that had wanted to reveal what servant leadership would be, it'd have Doug Christensen's face on it. He's the true servant leader, and someone that others can aspire to, including myself, as far as how how to work and do what's in best for the state, what's in the best for the university and the institution, and most importantly, what's in the best interest of the students. So, Doug, thank you. You're tremendous. You're unparalleled when it comes to leadership and what you've done for this state. So, your many years, what you've done not only in the legislature but here for the university, but for rural Nebraska is just, it's a major accomplishment. So just because you're not going to be in the legislature and just because you're not going to be in the university anymore doesn't mean that you still can't come around and continue to build those strengths and building rural Nebraska and one Nebraska in front of everybody else. I think that's just really critical. So thank you again, Doug. Okay, with that, we do have one more resolution to make. And as you know, Phil Bakken is moving on from the University of Nebraska as our corporate secretary. He has other things in his future. And I believe Regent Claire is going to be joining us shortly, but as opposed to waiting for him, I guess since everybody else on the board today has read a resolution in acknowledging the contributions of various people, I guess I'm the one that hasn't. So I will present that resolution on behalf of Phil.
Good job.
Whereas Phil Bakken has served the University of Nebraska for nearly a decade, starting as Industry Relations Coordinator at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and now as Chief of Staff and Corporate Secretary in the Office of the President. And whereas Phil possesses a work ethic and a relentless willpower to get things done and standards of integrity that are virtually unmatched, and whereas Phil's encyclopedic knowledge of the University of Nebraska policies and its history, his intricate understanding of the organizational structures, his photographic memory, and his keen ability to use facts and data to drive decisions and change at the highest levels of the university have been instrumental in the successful tenures of multiple presidents. And whereas Phil has been a behind-the-scenes but essential player behind almost every major initiative to come out of the president's office over the last decade, never seeking credit or recognition, but using his singular gifts as both a tactician and visionary to move the university to a higher level of efficiency, excellence, and competitiveness. And whereas Phil brings a whole new meaning to the phrase, other duties assigned. As his Varner Hall colleagues have benefited from his extensive skills, not only as an executive, but also as a handyman, office interior designer, bargain furniture shopper, IT specialist, kitchenette assemblyman, and fix-it guy in every possible sense of the word. And whereas when everyone says something can't be done, Phil personally finds a way to prove them wrong and get the job done. And whereas Phil will leave behind a lasting impact at the University of Nebraska, benefiting students, faculty, staff, and the institution for many years to come, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Regents expresses its deepest gratitude to Phil Bakken for his selfless service to the University of Nebraska, the Board of Regents, and our state, and wishes him success in his next adventure at the University of Pittsburgh.
All right, well, they give me a mic when I'm up at the table, but all I can say is people's names and quorum's present, so this is pretty scary that they brought me over to the other side of the lectern. I tried to think if we had a fight song for the Varner Hall team or the Board of Regents, and The best I can come up with is Rock of Ages by Def Leppard and the passage that it's better to burn out than fade away, because that's pretty much how I've operated my life for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, as our employee assistance program would attest, I probably leaned too far on the burnout part than the fade away. But all joking aside, to an extent, I just really appreciate the opportunity to be part of a team at the University of Nebraska. The impact that we get to make every single day is an immense point of pride, and just something that very humbles me to be able to be a part of each and every day during my time here. It's really the team that makes this special. I talked a little bit about that last night, but the relationships with each of you, which I appreciate, our former Regento colleagues, Bob Ferris, Kent Schroeder, Howard Hawks, relationships that I cherish. But our Varner Hall team is really something special, many of who are here. Jane and I have been together the whole time I've been here at the university. Vanessa, Kristen, Mel, Jackie, Jenny, Katie, Deb, Ryan. I'll miss some people. It's always the scary part of naming off people. Charles, our MacGyver. We got to work together to fix just about anything. That's what makes it special. And so it's the hard part about leaving from your family to go on to that next opportunity. But I used to run cross country and track, and so it's felt like the last 6 months has been down the home stretch. I really feel like I've left it all out on the track, out on the course, as Chris would know. But feel like we've run through the tape here with the University of Nebraska, and so wish everyone the best, and I'll be following with great anticipation for what's next to come. And also want to thank Mike Zeleny, because he's the reason I'm at the University of Nebraska. So it's all possible because of MZ. So thank you all. Appreciate you, and appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thank you again, Phil. I know you've left some incredibly large shoes for people to fill, and it's going to create a vacuum for time until we can find, probably going to take not one but two people to fill in to do everything that you've done. You've just been incredible. You're an extraordinary human being, and we've been blessed to have you as a part of our team.
Thank you. Luckily, they're only a size 10.5.
Regent Shear.
Well, I'm the short timer here, and I will say that upon my arrival, I found no one more welcoming than Phil. His vast knowledge brings people up to speed in remarkable time. And you are a young individual, and you have worked extremely hard. And people your age that I know of very rarely, if ever, leave a legacy. Phil, you will have left a legacy. Thank you.
Regent Whites?
Regent Schaefer, there's one thing you left off your list of things that Phil does. Actually, two. The first one is he's a firefighter, because I set our table on fire at President Carter's house. Very next meeting, I got a fire chief hat so that I would remember not to set fires anymore. And the other thing that Phil must have felt like I was a stalker for the first few years, because I was like, I don't will you be my dictionary? Can you explain these acronyms to me? And always, no matter how little it was or how many times I called, you absolutely were kind and funny, and helped me feel better about places that I didn't know anything about. You really helped me to become a better regent, and I really appreciate that. And you also were an air traffic controller, because I would frequently be lost in Lincoln going to dinner, and I would call Phil, and he'd say, well, where are you? And I would tell him what I was looking at, and he'd say, okay, now just listen to me. And he would guide me to the place I needed to get to. So, Phil, what am I going to do? You better get me a map or something, I think. Thank you so much for all you've done.
Regent Wilmot?
Definitely on the traffic controller. I don't know how many times. Call Phil and say, where am I at? And he would ask, what are you seeing? And sometimes I guess I was a slow learner, because he'd have to say, I will be outside the building waving my hand. And there he was. And always very kind about it. Never put you down, never made you feel like, golly, why can't you figure this out? And I appreciated that. But then what has amazed me in so many meetings and discussions is that depth of knowledge. Good grief. I don't even know where you keep all that knowledge, but historically you can go back and tell us, nope, you can't do that, this is why, or we've got this policy, that's just amazing to me. And then when I found out you'd only been here the short time that you have, which I mean, I suppose it's not short to you, but I just think, how did you get all that in there? And then it kind of leaves me in a sense of panic is, yeah, what do we do now without you? And the fact that you've been, like I said, just so kind. You never were short with me, and I just appreciated that.
Kind of on the same terms, if I'd have $100 in 8 years of being a regent, that every time I called him with a problem and he had it fixed, I'd be rich. Told him I'm keeping him on speed dial anyway, even though he's leaving.
Regent Stark?
Well, I've had the opportunity to work with most of these presidents over the last 50 years, and that involved chiefs of staffs, and you were by far the best. You're a lousy fisherman, but a good friend. Thanks.
All right, with that, we have some student regents and I think some chancellors that'd like to weigh in as well, Phil. So again, I know this is putting us a little bit behind time, but you know what? For both you and Chancellor Christensen, this is more than appropriate to take a few minutes to just tell both of you how much we respect you guys, cherish you guys, and love you, and just to have the gratitude that we have for everything you've done for us. So, Regent Petches.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, while our time here has been short, the student regents, I think we can agree that Phil has always been a welcoming face, and we can go through the many achievements that you have helped the university. But I think like the biggest thing that will stick with me is just the mentorship and friendship that you've built with us and this team, and you're someone I look up to, and I think my colleagues would agree with that. So, thank you for everything.
Emo?
Yeah, very quickly, ditto what Paul said, but Regent Shear mentioned how you bring people up to speed. That's extremely important for our student regents, who are often here a year at a time. So on behalf of the students, again, you do a remarkable job in ways that I don't think people see on the surface of helping the student voice be heard by keeping us informed. And we would be completely ineffective if it weren't for your background, at least for me. I wouldn't have been able to do my job without you.
Regent Schultes?
Yes, also echo that. And the thing that just comes to my mind is the way you're so responsive and so helpful and attentive to me, it would make me feel like you only work for me. But you do that for everybody, like in this room, which is insane. Just the biggest servant serves everybody for no recognition except for today. So here's your recognition. Thank you so much.
Regent Latour?
Which is a very good point to bring up, that I always think about, wow, Phil does so much stuff for me, but I never think that there's a lot of other people asking Phil for things pretty constantly. And how do I say this? Phil is what people call I think a floor raiser, that you lower the barrier of entry into existing in these spaces and being able to push for policy changes. That in general, you allow change to happen by being that foundation for everything else that we understand. I want to say thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts. And again, to echo our student regents, thank you from the students. We can't work as well as we do.
I believe I saw Chancellor Christensen leaning in earlier, so we'll turn it over to the chancellors, and then we'll, at that point, we'll probably take a break and then come back. So go ahead, chancellors.
Thank you very much. Phil, you didn't treat your position as a job. It wasn't 8 to 5. You treated it like a profession, which means you're all in, you were dedicated. I'll never forget that. It's been an honor to serve with you.
So personally, I am sad to see a walking dictionary encyclopedia actually walking to another state. But professionally, I'm very excited for you, Phil, to start a new page in your career. You'll be missed. Thank you for all the mentorship and all the help. But among all, I always remember when our student regents sworn in, you're always there for them. You congratulate them. You are truly a professional. You take all of us under your wing, and onwards and upwards.
Well, Phil, I've come to know you through many different lenses, as you know, in serving as the chancellor, and most recently as the executive vice president and provost. And I'm sure everybody in this room understands that the complexity and the logistics of the interaction in preparing for the board meetings and preparing for the committee meetings and exchanging information, et cetera, is just amazing. And Phil has always had a way of making the provost team feel special, deeply valued, and making sure that we get the work done perfectly well and on time. From a much more personal perspective, as many in this room know, Phil and I have spent a lot of quality time together over the last several weeks. I don't want to tell you, Phil, I have never, ever enjoyed it more or been more respectful as a result of that. Godspeed to you.
Phil, I think I owe a lot of my sitting in this chair this morning to you, and especially during the 30-day vetting period. I really appreciate everything that you've done for me personally and for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I appreciate your good counsel during that week. I appreciate the cough drops during that week. I appreciate your getting me connected with Melissa Lee. I don't know if Melissa's here or not, who between the two of you all got me connected with Chris Dunker over there in the press corps and with Zach. And I think that we have really been able to accomplish a lot at UNL. You are a very important part of that UNL narrative. So thank you to you, and Godspeed.
Okay. If there's no objection, I would suggest that these resolutions be adopted by acclamation. Thank you. The resolutions are so adopted. The standing rules of the board provide that any person may appear and address the board on items that are not on the agenda if an individual provides the corporation secretary 24 hours notice. Each person will be given 3 minutes to make remarks. We were contacted by one individual wishing to speak on a topic not on today's agenda. Would David Begley please come to the podium?
David Begley, Omaha. Congratulations to Phil Bach and Doug Christensen and the 4 student regents. You're very impressive, and you've accomplished many great things for the state of Nebraska. Warren Buffett is without question the most famous and wealthiest alum in the University of Nebraska. Part of his fame and success is due to his reputation for ethics and integrity. I'd like to think that's because he's Nebraskan and has Nebraska values. Regent White certainly knows Mr. Buffett, and I want to tell you a story about him that you may not know or forgot. Back in 1990, Berkshire Hathaway had an ownership position in Salomon Brothers. Warren Buffett was on the board. The CEO was John Goodfriend. He was quite famous and rich on Wall Street. What happened was a Salomon Brothers employee broke an important ethical rule regarding U.S. Treasury debt auctions. Goodfriend knew about it but did nothing. When Mr. Buffett found out, he fired Goodfriend, and Warren reluctantly took over as CEO. In a hearing at Congress, he said, "Lose money for the firm and I will be understanding. Lose a shred of reputation for the firm and I will be ruthless." Now, Dr. Gold is the current chancellor of the University of Nebraska Medical Center. During his tenure at UNMC, it engaged in child mutilation and sterilization, medical experiments on mentally ill kids. He knew this was going on, but he didn't stop it. I sent him a letter on November 18, 2020, asking him to stop it. With LB 574, the unicameral and the governor stopped it. Dr. Gold was also chancellor when a joint report from the College of Medicine and the College of Public Health was issued, which sentenced Nebraska school children to another unnecessary year of masking during COVID. This week, I publicly asked Dr. Gold about both these incidents, and his answers were lengthy, and I won't characterize them here. A commitment to integrity and ethics is the first core leadership pillar in your job description. Dr. Gold has many good qualities. I was great friends with the late Father John Schlegel as president of Creighton University. He personally told me that he admired Dr. Gold's fundraising ability. Coming from Father Schlegel, that was very high praise. That would be like Creighton basketball coach Greg McDermott giving kudos to your Fred Hoiberg. But this job is about more than raising money. I suspect you are going to approve Dr. Gold as your new president, and for what it's worth, I think you should. As a Catholic, I believe in redemption and forgiveness of sins. Therefore, I would ask that Dr. Gold issue an apology to the people of Nebraska for his inactions regarding child mutilation and sterilization and unnecessary mask wearing for children. In Dr. Gold's public statement, he should fire or publicly discipline the people responsible for approving child mutilation and sterilization and unnecessary mask wearing for children. I suspect that's Dr. James Linder and Dr. Ali Khan. This public statement should also track Warren Buffett's policy and inform all University of Nebraska employees. Lose a shred of reputation for the University of Nebraska, and I will be ruthless. Thank you very much.
Standing rules further provide that anyone wishing to speak concerning any item on the agenda for this meeting may do so. As you come forward, please identify yourself and complete the sign-in sheet. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. First is Betty Gillespie.
Hi, it's Betty Gillespie. You're very close, though.
My apologies.
You're totally good. Hello, everyone. My name is Betty Gillespie. I am the Interim Deputy State Historic Preservation Officer, and I am here today on behalf of Preserve Omaha and the Blackstone Neighborhood Association to read a letter they have written in regards to item 11B11, the Residence Hall project at UNMC. I have copies of this letter as well if you would like them. It has come to our attention that the Nebraska Board of Regents intends to develop student housing within the boundaries of the Gold Coast Historic District, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This proposed development would result in the demolition of 7 buildings, which are federally recognized as historic. We understand the need for additional housing. However, we strongly request that you consider the irreparable heritage your decision-making process will result in. Of particular concern are the 3 homes you plan to demolish to accommodate the new housing. These buildings represent the work of 2 of Omaha's finest architects, and the residents were significant people in Omaha. 3903 Dewey Avenue. The Charles C. Rosewater House was designed by one of Omaha's finest architects of the period, Frederick A. Henninger. Henninger was a prolific architect, having designed many homes and apartments for Omaha's upper class, including Strollo Terrace in North Omaha, the Havens Page House, and the Normandy Apartments. Born in Cleveland in 1859, Rosewater traveled to Europe to get his medical degree. Dr. Rosewater, the owner of this home, came to Omaha in the 1880s and became a practicing medicine member. For 15 years, he occupied the chair of obstetrics in the Creighton Medical School. I'm not a doctor, I apologize. Creighton Medical School College, and later focused on general medicine. In 1893, he married Claire Schlesinger. His brother later went on to find the Omaha Bee. 3905 Dewey Avenue, the Harry P. and Eugene Whitman House, was designed by the same architect as the Jocelyn Castle and many other of Omaha's most significant buildings, John McDonald. Mr. Whitmore was a prominent art dealer in Omaha who has been credited for drawing attention to Omaha as a burgeoning cosmopolitan center. His wife was an accomplished pianist and philanthropist in Omaha Society Circle. She is a founding member of the Amateur Musical Club, the Garden Club, and the Women's Club of Omaha. The Whitmore family was influential in Omaha and abroad, bringing in numerous people from abroad to Omaha and writing letters to them corresponding with artists, musicians, and business owners. The final one, 510 South 38th Avenue. The historic house is a fine example of neoclassical revival architecture. It was constructed in 1902 for the Civil War Colonel Charles Manderson. Originally from Philadelphia, Manderson entered the Army during the Civil War as the first lieutenant and rose within ranks to resign as colonel in 1865. He was also brevetted brigadier general for the volunteers that year. He resumed the practice of law in Canton, Ohio, and was elected twice to the attorney of Stark County. In 1869, he moved to Omaha, Nebraska to continue practicing law and was the city attorney of Omaha for 6 years, as well as being a member of the state constitutional convention in 1871 and 1875. Manderson was elected as a Republican to
3
the U.S.
minutes,
Senate.
would you please conclude?
Yes,
Thank you.
sorry. Their last comments are, we ask that you follow us to allow us a seat at the planning table to provide development solutions with you that are beneficial to your institution and our neighborhood. Thoughtful process and public input are valuable to the city and its neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Frank Delenchek here in the audience? Okay, you're next.
So, completely unaware my name was on that list, but I represent the union carpenters in Nebraska and the western part of Iowa. I'm president of Local 427. So, we do a high market share of work in Omaha, and I understand that UNMC is meeting here. We're meeting here today to discuss some of that work. I just want to let you know that we represent a lot of Omaha and Lincoln and Iowa for carpenters, and we also represent what they call members that are being victims of third-tier subs. That's happening more and more often, where they're not getting paid, or they don't have workman's comp, or there's fraud, it's fraudulent, whatever. I would like to share my information with you so that regardless of what contractor you use, whether they're union or non-union, I'd like to be a resource for you with a bias, without any judgment on who you use, whether they're reliable, responsible contractors. I'll be honest with you. There's good contractors that aren't union, and there's good contractors that are union. Yeah, I just want to be a resource for you for any information that you have on people on the list for you. I leave my card with you after the meeting, if that's all right. Pretty much that's all I have to say. I'm just here to gather information. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board on a topic that is part of today's agenda? There being none, I declare this opportunity for public comment closed. We will now take a short recess until 10:40, at which time we'll reconvene and we'll turn it over to President Koborik for his remarks.
for how much gets done by a very, very small team who does things the Nebraska way. They just work their tails off each and every day, and it's a special group. And so I'm not going to name them one by one, but although I'd like to, but I want to thank everybody in the Varner Hall team for everything they do. You know, last January, we made a commitment to you, the board, and all Nebraskans that we were going to get things done. We weren't going to be simply a caretaker or keeping the seat warm during this leadership transition. And I think we have a number of things that we can feel proud and excited about what we've achieved. The top of my list is the Presidential Scholars Program. This has been one of the most rewarding efforts in my 27 years at the university. And I want to thank you, the board. It's been an honor to stand with you, with Governor Pillen, when we announced that program to recommit and go compete for our 5-star academic scholars. And I mentioned this several times, the response to the program has been overwhelming. I wish you all could have joined Regent Scheer and I in Pender, Nebraska, when the entire school, K through 12, came together to celebrate a young man named Caleb Kelly and his commitment and decision to attend the University of Nebraska at Lincoln on a presidential scholarship. I've had a parent tell me, thank you. Thank you to the board, thank you to the administration team for bringing excitement back to academics. That's what we're trying to do with this program. Send a message that academics is going to be celebrated just like we celebrate athletics. And it's not just whether you get a perfect 36 ACT or not, it's all Nebraska kids. I've had so many students reach out to me and say, you've inspired me to study harder. I'm going to try that ACT again. I'm going to get refocused and see if I can get that score up to someday become a Nebraska presidential scholar. And that inspiration is really what we hope to achieve with our messaging. And I think it's why Nebraskans who are excited to celebrate our scholars the same way we celebrate student athletes. And it's students, parents, counselors who are happy to see us in their schools, connecting eyeball to eyeball with young people and telling them that we want them here at the University of Nebraska. You know, that's been the reaction everywhere I went, whether it's Brainerd, Nebraska, Omaha North, Pender, Lincoln Southeast, or just this week at Omaha West Side. And I hope that's a message every Nebraskan hears, because every kid is worth our time and effort. And I'm more convinced of that after looking these kids in the eyes and hearing about their hopes and their dreams. And I can tell you, we have changed the trajectory of some of these young people. Like the young woman at Lincoln Southeast, who was likely headed out of state to Tulsa to pursue her dream to become a teacher, but committed to the University of Nebraska after we announced the presidential scholars. You know, that's the kind of talent we want to keep here in Nebraska. Or a remarkable young woman I just met this last Tuesday at Omaha West Side, who, and I'm a very, very big Destiny guy, on the very day of our visit, she had just gotten the disheartening news that she had been waitlisted by the Naval Academy, which was her dream institution to attend. Her counselor literally brought her into the hallway to chat with us. She literally had tears in her eyes, and I knew how disappointed she was. But it was an opportunity to talk to her about the opportunity that the University of Nebraska can provide her, and that we want her as a student at one of our campuses. Fast forward a few text messages, a few phone calls, and I'm happy to say that we've already got her connected with our UNL Navy ROTC, talking about opportunities for her there and how we can help her pursue her dream to serve her country and receive her academic training right here in Nebraska. I mean, that's the kind of connections that are possible when we show up and we talk to Nebraska kids. You know, it's hard to do that from our desks, but I feel very optimistic that we turn a disappointment into a positive for this young woman just because we were present. And I absolutely know she's the type of student we want at the University of Nebraska. I'm excited about the facility projects that we have going on and complete and are either completed or underway to get completion. Being competitive means we have to have world-class facilities. Many of our students, our faculty, our staff, when they get on campus, they still buy with their eyes. They like to see world-class facilities, and we have a number of them. I can't say enough kudos about Kiewit Hall, the new engineering building on our Lincoln campus, and how that's going to train the next generation of engineers across the state. I'm so excited about the new United States Department of Agriculture, USDA facility that we'll all have the opportunity to break ground on here in a few weeks. And I'm grateful to Senator Fisher, Congressman Fudd, Chancellor Bennett, Vice President Boehm, and our delegation for supporting this important investment in Nebraska agriculture, our most important industry in our state. And I hate to pile on even more, but you have to talk about the Christensen Rural Health Complex. And thanks again, Doug, for your vision on that project. I am 100% believer that is going to be game-changing for how we develop our healthcare workforce, particularly from my roots, rural Nebraska. I'm excited about the new workforce strategies, like our new partnership with Google to make Google career certificates available to students, alumni, and all Nebraskans. Of course, we will always champion four-year degrees, but certificates and other micro-credentials are going to be an important part of the solution for growing education attainment in our state. And these certificates are a great opportunity for Nebraskans to get new skills, no matter where they live or what their family or their job circumstances might be. In only 3 days, we've had over 700 people sign up for the program. An amazing response that tells me Nebraskans are looking for these type of opportunities to take the next step in their careers and improve their lives and their families' lives. And we hope many more sign up. So my shameless plug, go to nebraska.edu, search Google certificates, check it out, sign up. It's an exciting program. And I want to thank Jackie Lindberg, who has an appointment in Brett Blackman's Office of the President, Information Technology, and also an appointment with Chancellor Lee at UNO, who's really quarterbacking this effort for us, and she's doing a fantastic job with it. And finally, with change, I'm excited about adding talent to our leadership team. And, Regent Claire and Chairman Schaefer, if you would have told me that hiring an athletic director was going to be on the bingo card when I took this job, I might have thought twice or thought, what are you talking about? But all things happen for a reason, and it was a fantastic experience for me. And we're so fortunate to have recruited Troy Dannon, who is in the audience with us, and his family, to join us at Nebraska from Washington. And, when you meet Troy, you're going to find out real quickly that this isn't his first rodeo. And he's hit the ground running, and I know he's going to do great things for Husker Athletics, and he's going to be a great partner for the university, all of our campuses, and our state. So, Troy, thanks for being here, and thanks for everything you're doing. All of these efforts align with our 5-point plan. And the real nexus of the plan is to make us more competitive. I hope everyone had a chance to read the story in the World Herald a few weeks ago about our goals to compete and the choices before us. If you haven't, I think it's an outstanding piece, and it's a great platform for us to have a conversation about what kind of university we want to be going forward. And, I'm not going to reiterate, you've all seen the data and the statistics in terms of where we rank in the Big Ten and those kind of things. And we still have a lot of challenges before us, all the challenges we've been talking about for the last 2 years. Costs are still rising. Enrollment and demographic challenges still exist. Revenue growth is still projected to be muted. And when you add all that up, it's it's a challenging equation that we're going to have to solve. And meanwhile, the competition is not slowing down. It's even growing more intense. Now, the Big Ten is now at 18 institutions. 17 of those are in the AAU. The Nebraskans I know are competitors, and that is not the way we want to stand out from the rest of the field. So I know it's scary to talk about a public goal of being the first institution to be readmitted to the AAU, but I'm proud of that. And I wouldn't talk about it so much if I didn't think we had the right leadership team to do it, that it wasn't good for Nebraska, or that we could achieve it. But we all know talk is not going to get us there, and there will be some invested in our failure, and inertia could be our greatest enemy. And there are no preconceived ideas on how this is going to look. Doing nothing is a choice. If we think a 50-year-old structure is the right model for Nebraska, we can keep doing that without a doubt. That is certainly more comfortable in the short term. But realistically, we have to be prepared for the consequences of status quo, just as we need to be prepared for the consequences of uncomfortable change. It's up to us as a leadership team to evaluate and bring bold ideas to this board, to you, because ultimately you will decide what pathway we take. There's no doubt we have a lot of work to do, but we've shown we can take down the #1 ranked team in volleyball, or on the women's basketball court, or on the men's basketball court. And we did all that in a single season. So there's no reason we can't replicate the success in our classrooms, in our research labs. I've said this a lot. I'm a lifelong Nebraska. I'm an alum. I'm now a proud parent of a UNO student. I believe 110% in the potential of this university. I think we have the right plan, we have the right team in place to compete at the highest levels, and we have all the potential to get there and win. It's been the absolute opportunity of a lifetime to sit in this seat and serve my alma mater over the past several months, and I very much look forward to our next steps, and just want to thank all of you for the opportunity. And with that, I'll turn it back to the chair.
Thank you, Chris. You've done a tremendous job for us. Talk about someone that's switched positions. He didn't come off the bench. He was playing a position already, but I think essentially we kind of doubled, tripled your workload here for the last 4 months. But we are so appreciative of you and your leadership and what you've done. You definitely kept your foot on the gas, and we didn't go backwards. We went forwards. And during your time as the interim, and as we continue to work on filling your position with a permanent selection here, hopefully in the near future. I can't tell you how grateful I am as the chair and the board as a whole for your leadership and your contributions. And so Nebraska is definitely a better place as far as the state, and the university is definitely a better place with you in it. And we hope to keep you here for a long, long time. Although I know now that you've been revealed to the world, there's probably a lot of other universities that think, hey, that guy sitting in that chair at Nebraska, he'd be good on our team too. So we love you, we respect you, and hopefully we can do great things together in the future. So thank you again. Okay, it's now my time to consider the consent agenda with the rest of the board. The consent agenda, as indicated by its name, is moved and voted on as a group of actions as opposed to the administrative agenda, where items are considered and discussed individually. Unless one of my colleagues wishes to consider any of the items on the administrative agenda, I would invite a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make it.
Please call the roll.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot? Yes. Regent Clare? Yes. Regent Kenny?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. I would now ask Interim President Kaborik to guide us through the administrative agenda.
Thank you. Unless there is an objection, I recommend the board consider items 11A1 through 11A5 together. This set of items demonstrates the good work of our colleagues at UNK to strengthen their academic programs in the media studies area. In response to the reinvention plan, UNK evaluated all their academic programs and determined it would be more sustainable and advantageous to offer the media studies comprehensive, which would encompass the current individual programs in journalism, advertising, sports communication, and multimedia. Kudos to Dr. Julie Schaefer and her team for proactively strengthening this programmatic area. These items were reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend them for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve items 11A1 through 11A5?
So moved.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11A6 seeks the board's approval to discontinue the JSD in space law at UNL. This degree was established as a highly specialized program in 2012. In recent years, there have been a very limited enrollment and few degree completions. Additionally, the college will be losing key discipline-specific expertise due to retirements. Active students will be allowed to complete their degree programs. Again, this item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it for approval.
All right, now there's a joke out there about how many lawyers should be at the bottom of the ocean, but maybe we could start sending some lawyers to space instead. So maybe we should reconsider this one.
I'd suggest you keep your day job.
All right, all joking aside, is there a motion to approve item 11A6?
So moved.
We have a second there between the two of you. Any
Second.
discussion?
Whatever you need.
Roll call, please.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. I recommend the board consider items 11A7 and 11A8 together. Like the UNK items considered a few moments ago, these items represent the good work of Dean Hang Moss and her colleagues in Casimir. In this case, the Applied Climate Science and Water Science programs will be transitioned into options with the Bachelor of Science in Environmental Studies program. These items were reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend them for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve items 11A7 and 11A8?
Make it. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish? Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to item 11A9. The Master of Science in Veterinary Science program has not met the CCPA minimum degree threshold, granting less than 1 degree per year on average. As such, it is recommended that this program be transitioned into a specialization within the Master of Applied Science program to continue to fulfill the needs of expertise in animal health to support Nebraska's critical livestock industry. Item 11A9 was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11A9?
So move.
Any discussion?
Question.
Regent?
I got a call, wondered about establishing like a mid-level between a vet tech and a vet degree, like I don't know what you call it in the medical field, where they had the ability to do certain things that a vet could do, but not the schooling. And I wondered if this is what this would fit in. Being in the livestock industry.
Vice President Boehm?
Yeah, thanks. Regent Kenny, Michigan State University has what's called a veterinary nursing degree, if you will. It's a bachelor's level position. There's quite a bit of discussion as to how that fits in between the 2-year vet tech and the 8-year DVM here in Nebraska. This degree, candidly, is an off-ramp for students studying veterinary science, not veterinary medicine. So this is like a PhD-bound student who, for whatever reason, fails to meet the PhD requirement. Oftentimes, this was the degree. So because it didn't meet the CCPE standards, because it does not touch veterinary medicine, but veterinary science, we put this forward for transition.
Any other questions or discussion?
I do have one. I'm just wondering, in terms of our campus at NCTA, if there isn't a natural way to develop some program connections with this transition.
Yeah, again, this is a master's degree, so
Right.
the natural place is, as Regent Kenny talked about, Regent Weiss, I think, is that 2-year associate in vet tech with a 4-year degree around veterinary nursing. The American Association of Veterinary Medicine is weighing in quite heavily on these credentials, and so there's a complicated dance as to where a 4-year degree in veterinary health medicine fits at this time, and we're engaged in those conversations.
Oh, good. You're talking about it.
Any other questions or discussion? Having none, please call the roll.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear? Regent Stark?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11A10 seeks the board approval to eliminate the National Center for Research and Economic Education at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. The center was established in 1984 and focused on improving economic and financial literacy. All faculty previously associated with the center have left the university, and currently faculty have not indicated interest in trying to revive the center as a standalone entity. We have similar program exists within our other units in the College of Business. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11A10?
Second.
Any discussion?
While this program will be eliminated, I really encourage UNL to, and all the campuses for that matter, to talk about financial literacy. Lots of times these topics are not learned at home, and they need to be learned in some capacity. Economics can make a difference in a kid's life for forever, and I really encourage that while this program didn't make it, we have to help students learn the value of a dollar bill.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11A11 seeks the board approval to discontinue the certificate in community-oriented primary care at UNMC. This program has not admitted new students since 2018, and the faculty responsible for instruction have left the university. Active certificate programs are better aligned with the current public health curriculum and faculty expertise. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11A11?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11A12 seeks the board's approval to discontinue the Bachelor of Science in Medicine at UNMC. This program was originally used as a pipeline program for students with non-traditional backgrounds, ultimately seeking a path toward the medical doctorate. No students have been enrolled in the program for over 5 years. The item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11A12?
So moved.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Yes. The motion passes.
Thank you. Finally, I recommend the board consider items 11A13 through 11A18 collectively. These items recognize the good work of Chancellor Gold and the UNMC team to unify the basic science PhD programs under the Interdisciplinary Graduate Program in Biomedical Sciences umbrella. This new structure allows students an opportunity to explore several facets of biomedical science in their first year before selecting a research laboratory and specialized discipline. The structure also allows UNMC to successfully obtain NIH training grants supporting these graduate students. This item was reviewed by the Academic Affairs Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve items 11A13 through 11A18?
So moved in that order.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to business and finance items. Item 11B1 seeks the board approval to authorize Phase 2 design services from HDR to conduct further architectural and engineering planning for the Memorial Stadium renovation project. To be clear, last October, the board approved a Phase 1 of $45 million of the Memorial Stadium planning project. And as you know, Phase 1 is mostly basic infrastructure work that we need to do in any case of the stadium, whether any project goes on further. The contract before you today represents the typical next step in the facilities planning process. If you approve, it would allow us to continue with conceptual design work. As the board directed us last October, no Phase 2 work will move until detailed construction and financing plans are brought to you for your consideration. Now, I know given the change in leadership at the athletic department, we've had a lot of questions about where we are with the stadium renovation. What are the plans going forward? Will anything change from the initial proposal that was shared last fall? And right now, I feel it's important that we give Troy the time and space to do his due diligence and get fully up to speed on the project. I know he's looking at this almost every day and through the lens of what makes the most sense for Nebraska. And to quote Troy, you know, is it going to help us win? And is it the very best use of resources at Husker Athletics? And I think that's the right approach. From my chair, I think it's clear we need to make some improvement to our stadium. Competitive facilities are important to the university, just as they are to athletics, and this will be a big part of that. But we'll take the time to have some conversations and figure out exactly what the right plan going forward should be. So more to come, and again, we'll come back to the board for any further work. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B1?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Want to make sure that as we're doing this and approving this and not knowing exactly everything you have planned in this, are we still in keeping with the original agreement that there?
Yes.
Roy, would you like to make any comments on this, or?
I do have a question.
Senator Regent White's.
Yeah, wow. I'll get a new office. Okay. My only question is, as we approved phase 1, and as we go forward and go approve phase 2, are we moving ourselves to a position where we will have spent enough money that we're sort of pushed to go further than that?
So to clarify, the board has already approved phase 1. That was approved last
Right,
October.
no, I knew, yeah, I agree, but this would
And
be
part of that
phase
was
2.
the design, and this contract with HDR exceeds $5 million, so it required board approval. So it's not locking the board into anything beyond that.
Oh, phase 2, authorized phase 2 design services is not part of that.
They're starting to think about what phase 2 might be. And so for
Is
HDR,
phase 1 work being done, phase 2 work being done in phase 1?
phase 1 work is being done.
Right,
This is for some design work for phase 2 that would be started.
right. Is there money attached to this,
To phase 2?
to what we're authorizing today? Yes, that's what I'm asking.
No.
It's within the $45 million that
within
the
the
board
$45 million
approved last
It's
October.
contained in that original 45.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
great. Okay.
It's supported by private funding.
Sorry, had to get that straightened in my head.
And I guess I would ask too, as you're reevaluating exactly from the original plan, maybe what we might change or might not change.
So,
Is that in this step?
yeah, so we're not reevaluating anything. Troy's getting up to speed on the project. All you're asking the board to do is to approve the contract with the design team to continue that planning process. It's all within the $45 million approved last October.
Got it.
Any other questions or discussion? Please call the roll.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny? The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Item 11B2 seeks the board's approval to permit alcohol sales at Haymarket Park for university events. I first want to thank Jim and Jack Abel and the NEBCO team for our continued partnership at Haymarket Park. You know, we have a strong legacy of baseball success at all levels in Lincoln, thanks to the Abels in our athletic department, and we look forward to continuing that partnership. I'm very pleased that Troy and I have reached an agreement with the Able team, that the board supports it, to provide this amenity that many of our fans have been asking for, and aligns us with most of our peers, not only in the Big Ten, but across the country. We don't bring alcohol items to you lightly. We take them very seriously. But I'm really proud of our events team. I think we've really proven and shown that we can do this responsibly at other events. Alcohol sales have now been available for a whole season at men's and women's Husker basketball games. We provided it at the volleyball day in Memorial Stadium, and we sold it at the Big Ten Wrestling Championships a couple years ago. And we had no major incidents in any of those events. And that's really kudos to Husker Athletics and our event management teams, our campus teams, for managing that in a very, very responsible way. And I'm confident we can add this amenity at Husker baseball and softball games safely in a way that enhances the experience for our fans. As we have agreed with NEBCO, all revenues will be reinvested back into Haymarket Park. It's a stadium now approaching 20 plus years old, As you can imagine, Troy has a whole list of capital improvement items that need to be done, as well as the Salt Dog do. And so this will be a win-win for both partners in terms of finding a revenue stream to help chip away at some of those issues. It's not going to solve all of them, but it certainly won't help. And so I think Troy and I are both completely committed to investing in alcohol awareness programs for our students. And that is something you will have our pledge to do going forward. This item was reviewed with members of the board, and I recommend it for your approval.
Okay. Regent Kinney, do you have a motion to approve item 11B2?
Make that motion.
Right. Any discussion?
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Since this was in the paper over the weekend, the World Herald, on Coach Osborne and Coach Kemp, I've received an incredible number of phone calls, emails from former players, coaches, and staff, and thanking all of you for this recognition. I can't think of two men who have done more for the university than Coach Osborne and Coach Kemp, and how blessed were many of us to work side by side with them for decades. I think the most impressive thing is a lot of them stayed around with Coach Kemp. A lot of people from, these players from international, from Canada particularly, stayed and are part of the community, and our football players. And we wanted to particularly thank the board. We wanted to thank the athletic department and Ted Carter and Jolie and Adrian Dow for what you did. And we wanted to also recognize appreciation to Nancy Osborne and the kids, and also thank Julie Kemp for her support, and the kids too. I know that might be out of order, but I just wanted to share. Thank you.
I do have it's more of a suggestion. It feels, as each time the alcohol issue has come up about a particular event, there's been a specific reason why, because the Big Ten won't do a championship unless you can sell beer at that championship, or there are multiple other examples of us sort of doing a piecemeal approach to alcohol on our sports events. And it's not that I know beer and baseball probably go together. I have a husband who loves Heineken, so.
And hot dogs.
And hot dogs. Forgot the hot dogs. But it feels to me as though we really, as a Board of Regents, need to spend some time on what our alcohol policy really is all about in sports, rather than one at a time going, okay, well, we're going to do it here, but we're not going to do it there. But we're going to do it over here, but we're not going to do it over there. And I know circumstances vary, but I think we, as a board, deserve to have a really rigorous conversation about what does that say, how do we regulate that, are we going to continue to do this one event at a time?
And I have to say, Chris, I'm not picking on your wording, because I've heard this wording over and over, and it rankles me every time I hear it, and that's enhancing the experience of our fans. You're only talking about the adult fans. I'm sorry. You're forgetting the family aspect. You're forgetting the kids. You tell me that, well, we're going to have this wonderful service. And again, I'm not picking on you personally. You and I have had this conversation.
You can pick on me all you want.
Yeah. But, we say that we're doing this, and then we're going to add a service, or make sure we keep our service to help our students in case they have a little alcohol problem, but we keep putting it out there. So, I'm always a no, that. But that's the things I guess I think we're forgetting. But in the meantime, we keep saying we're all about the young people of this state.
I guess my comment to that would be I believe strongly in treating adults like adults, and as long as adults can behave like adults, they should be able to enjoy a beverage if that's what they choose. But that's my thoughts on that. Yeah. Regent Shear.
Well, on occasion I have opposed it, and that was because of different reasoning, but I think taking Barb's notice, we are doing this piecemeal, and sometimes that's not bad, because I don't know that carte blanche type of program is the correct approach either. But in this particular case, we do have a shared facility that is in need of some updates and some renovation. And very rarely do you find a co-sponsor that's willing to forego those profits and being able to partner in those renovations instead of doing it exclusively on our own or expecting them to. And I think Chris's comment was it really is a win-win for the university and the community and the facility, because without that, I would be afraid that the facility might continue to maybe perhaps deteriorate a little bit. And I think this is a welcome source of income to try to rectify those problems. And as we're going through university looking at our financial situation, we're constantly looking for new revenue sources. I mean, part of it is trying not to reduce as much as we can, but looking for additional opportunities of providing more funding so that we don't have to reduce as much. Well, and although there may be apples and orchards, but at least in this case, we are getting a pretty good bang for the buck here by allowing this. And so in this case, I would be supportive. Thank you.
Okay. Regent Claire?
Excuse me. I agree with I'm going to vote in favor of this as well. I think I want to also acknowledge the Able family for not only their partnership in athletics, but their partnership throughout the entire university for years. They have been a tremendous partner with the University of Nebraska in a variety of different capacities, including athletics. And so I appreciate that partnership, and I appreciate the continuation of the partnership. I also wanted to pick up on something that Regent Scheer said, that while alcohol sales, we can agree to or not, whether it's a good thing and a fan amenity and all those different things, when they're taking the profits of this, I'll call it an amenity, they're taking the profits of this and putting it back into facilities that's going to enhance, where we are playing our games. That's a positive too, because I think establishing our own baseball field would have been an enormous expense and would have just I think it would have just created a lot of stress on the athletic department from a financial standpoint. So I really think this is a win-win-win, and I really congratulate Troy and Chris for this resolution. And again, thank the Able family, because I think this is a great resolution and a great thing for Nebraska.
I agree with those comments, Tim. Those are spot on. And thank you again to the Able family and to Chris and our new athletic director for getting this done. I know Regent Kinney has some comments as well.
I would just like to applaud Barb's comment on, let's look at the big picture. I talked to Adrian and Chancellor Lee. Maybe you want to comment on what we do at UNO, if we're all aware of that. I do know if I go to UNK football game, we can go outside the stadium right on the side and get a beer if I'd like one. You don't take it in the stadium, but it's still available on the grounds. So, looking at the whole picture, I think would be important.
Chancellor Lee.
Absolutely. The agreement between Baxter and Alcocel was actually created prior to my arrival. But I'm very fortunate we have our Vice Chancellor for Athletics is here. Adrian Dowell will be able to answer a little bit more in details, because Baxter Arena is actually operated under his supervision.
Good morning. As Regent Kennedy did mention, yes, we do have alcohol sales currently from the inception of Baxter Arena, but also at Maverick Park. Not to endorse one way or the other, but certainly, some of the decision points and criteria that needs to be considered is infrastructure within the facility, certainly the arrangement of the concession area you have in place, and also we are lucky at UNO to have a very dedicated and trained staff who operates alcohol sales for us. So it certainly has worked well for us. However, like I said, every situation can be unique, but there is precedence within the system.
Thank you.
Out of order to make a comment.
No, not at all. Please do.
I'd just like to say that I think it's going to be really important for us to give some thought to alcohol education programming part. I think that's a significant component. I'm glad that's included in the agreement. But we have trained professionals on all of our campuses that can really work with students in alcohol education and other drug awareness and training. So I'd like to just recommend that as we go down this road that we really take that component seriously and designate the right amount of funding and support in order to get that across the finish line.
Okay. Let's turn it quick to Chancellor Christensen, then Chancellor Gold to wrap it up, because I know Chancellor Gold has some programs in place up there. But I know Doug enjoys a cold beer once in a while, but would you like a cold beer at a baseball game? We're putting you on the spot.
A long time ago to be quiet.
Oh, no. Okay. No, but as far as at Kearney,
Yeah.
you do have some things with.
We do, and ours predates all of this by a long way. Gosh, I lose track of the number of years, but it's probably been 15 years ago. We came to the board and asked for the ability to have an outside vendor at our football games outside of the stadium, that we wouldn't have any dispensing, we wouldn't be in charge of any of that. This board approved that as a blanket, and we've sort of operated since then under that blanket approval. I was skeptical about behaviors. I am not aware of any problems that we've had probably 15 years.
Okay.
And I think it's probably due to the nature of the community and the fans that come, obviously. But we've not experienced any of that. We zealously have not done it for inside events. I think that's a different environment for us. We chose not to do volleyball, basketball, any of those sorts of things. And I'm glad we did that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Chancellor Gold?
Well, first of all, the UNMC labs have been undefeated since 1906. And we have not served alcohol since then. But I remember very well when the decisions regarding Pinnacle Bank Arena were reached in this very room. And it was really the scientific data that drew the distinction between what happens outside the arena, what happens in the parking spaces, what happens in people's cars, as compared to a thoughtful ability to dispense alcohol in a controlled way. So it's not a question as much of whether we do it or don't do it. It's, I think, much more of a question of how we do it safely and to put the correct programs in place. As I recall the data from that presentation, Regent Schaefer, the number of DUIs, the number of serious motor vehicle accidents, etc., were actually more substantial in settings where there was not controlled sale of alcohol during fixed periods of time as compared to others. So I certainly, just looking at it from the purely medical safety perspective, strongly support thoughtful approaches to how and when and during what intervals these products can be sold. But certainly the data supports, if it's done in a thoughtful way, it actually enhances safety and doesn't detract from it.
Thank you. Any other questions, discussion, comments? If not, please call the roll.
Regent Latoro.
Yes.
Regent Molina.
Yes.
Regent Peckish.
Yes.
Regent Schultes.
Yes.
Regent Shear.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
No.
Regent Wilmot.
No.
Regent Clare.
Yes.
Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B3 seeks the board's approval to name the Go Big facility the Osborne Legacy Complex, after Coach Tom Osborne. As you know, this facility will house our football, life skills, training table, and performance areas, all of which were significantly advanced by Coach Osborne during his service as head football coach and as athletic director. As such, this naming is a fitting honor, as Regent Stark already alluded to. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Any questions? Nothing? Athletic Director, you have any comments? If not, we'll go ahead and proceed and vote. Thank you. All right, please call the roll.
Regent Molina.
Yes.
Regent Peckish.
Yes.
Regent Schultes.
Yes.
Regent Latoro.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Wilmot.
Yes.
Regent Claire. Yes. Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Shear.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B4 seeks the board's approval to concurrently accept a private donation and increase the budget for the Architecture Complex Phase 2 renovation. I want to emphasize that the budget increase is entirely funded by this private donation. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B4?
Make it.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Regent Peckish.
Yes.
Regent Schultes.
Yes.
Regent Latoro.
Yes.
Regent Molina.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Wilmot.
Yes.
Regent Claire. Yes. Regent Kenny. Yes. Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Shear.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B5 seeks the board's approval to approve naming the new wing of the north of Architecture Hall the HDR Pavilion. HDR has made significant contribution to the Architecture Hall renovation project and to strengthening our architectural programs. The university expresses its sincere appreciation to HDR for their generosity and their partnership. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B5?
Yes. Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to thank HDR and all the partners that are working on this. There was a time when Architecture College was on life support, and we put a little water on that plant and a little nourishment, and through some leadership, most recently through Kathy Ankerson, that college has now just booming, and that's really important because it's the only architecture program really in the state of Nebraska. And so we have a duty, again, to provide the state with the education to keep our state vibrant. And I'm just thrilled with what's going on at Architecture Hall, and thrilled with where we are. So thanks to all the partners that have really contributed to make this happen.
Regent Kenny?
And I think it's another one that will keep students at home. And a friend of the family, and I believe it's Tulane. Didn't they have an architectural program? So that's where he went, is Tulane from Hastings, Nebraska. So hopefully we have a program that will attract and keep students here.
Great. Chancellor Bennett?
I'm very proud of our College of Architecture, and I agree with the assessment that Kathy Ankerson really breathed new life into the program, and the program is continuing to grow. So if the board takes action on this item, it just sort of helps us with what we're trying to do in that college. So thank you.
And so did Scott Killinger. Scott Killinger did an amazing job at a time when this college was basically giving CPR to the college, and he did a great job. And Kathy, of course, not taking anything away from what you did as well. But
okay, any other comments? Please call the roll.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Claire? Yes. Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to medical center items. Item 11B6 seeks the board's approval to amend and restate an interlocal cooperation agreement with Sarpy County for the forensic psychiatric fellowship programs with UNMC. This is a really good news story, as Sarpy County is proposing an extended term for the agreement and increased support. This represents the only forensic fellowship program in our state, and as such, fills a very critical need. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B6?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I'd like to make a comment. Thank Dr. Gold for your work on this. I was a part of it, and what it is they're paying, Sarpy County is paying for fellowship on their new jail, and it's unprecedented in the country. Dr. Gold put a lot of work into getting this person in that recruit, because it's very hard to find forensic psychiatrists. So thank you, Dr. Gold, for your work.
Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molino?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B7 seeks the board's approval to amend the interlocal cooperation agreement with the City of Omaha relating to Project Health. The item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee. I recommend it for approval, and I would ask to see if Dr. Gold would like to make a few comments.
Well, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, President Kabork. Just simply to say that this represents an amendment of an existing agreement supporting the first phase of Project Health, which of course will be critical to continuing to grow the workforce for the health professions for the state. This is incredible teamwork led by our business and finance team, but also directly through the mayor of Omaha, Gene Stothert, and we're very grateful for this, which is essentially an extension and somewhat of an inflation cost-based increase of their commitment, indeed on their dime, so to speak. So a very positive thing, and I'm glad that the Business and Finance Committee recommended it, and I certainly feel strongly that the board should strongly consider it and recommend.
Regent Shear?
Thank you, and I just wanted to respond as well to it's our President Chancellor Gold comments as well, that I think too often we forget to acknowledge and thank those that are very integrally involved with the process of the university and the support of the university. And although the Project Next is a private-public process, this is really a public-public process where two governmental entities are working together for the benefit, in this case, not just Omaha, but the state of Nebraska and our health care. And so I wanted to thank the city of Omaha as well for their process of moving forward with this.
Any other comments? If not, please call the roll.
Regent Molino?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. I also want to echo my thanks to the teams, and particularly to Stacia Pauser, our legal counsel team, for all the review. These are very complex legal instruments, as you can imagine. So thanks for all the teams for getting these done. Item 11B8 seeks the board's approval of a ground lease to facilitate the development of a parking garage at UNMC to support the Saddle Creek expansion. The developers will ultimately sell the parking garage to the city of Omaha at the conclusion of construction, and the ground lease will then transfer to the city of Omaha for the remainder of the lease term. This item was also reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Before we do that, apparently we kicked it over and bypassed the motion and second on the last one for 11B7. So do we have a motion and second on that?
So moved.
And if we were to call the roll again, would your votes be the same as what they were? All right. So is there a motion to approve item 11B8? this point in time.
Second.
Discussion? Regent Kinney?
Vice Chancellor Barnes and I were talking, and with the comment earlier, is this part of the historic house area, or I'd like some clarity on that, and we were cut off by Chairman Schaefer before we got our conversation done, but I was trying to gain information. I don't really want to vote to tear down a great value of a house.
I think that's items 11B11.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we're not,
I'll wait.
we're not there yet.
I'll wait.
Okay.
Any more discussion on this matter? If not, please call the roll.
One question.
Okay, yes.
This, though, would be for the public in general, not just student parking or the workers at the hospital.
That's correct.
So it's public.
Yes, I believe, and I'd ask Ann to qualify this, but I believe we've committed to a number of parking stalls within the facility, but this will be public parking owned and operated by the city of Omaha during the period of the lease.
That is correct.
Stacia as well, is that correct?
So this is the parking garage that's part of that interlocal agreement that was just approved. It's the 30 million. It's over on the west side of Saddle Creek in that new district. So yes, it will be a public parking facility.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I know I had heard recently some of the concerns of evidently employees at the hospital that have to walk quite a ways. A lot of times it's dark and they're going on 12-hour shifts, so they're going in the dark, they're coming home in the dark, and I guess the safety of that particular area. And also, them felt like the parking fee was a little high.
Understand. So I'm actually very happy to respond to this because it's not only the employees, but it's also our students. So in response to that, we are starting a shuttle service in July so that we will be able from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. have a shuttle that will pick up employees, students, even patients' families from the Ronald McDonald House and be able to deliver them around campus very safely and securely.
Will that be economical for them?
It will be. Again, the pricing on parking depends on how far away from the buildings they are. So for instance, we have a lot across the south side of Leavenworth. That's the most economical parking space, but that's one of the stops where the shuttle will pick up and drop off.
One more
Shuttle
question.
will be free, just to be clear.
Say that
There'll be
again.
no charge for the shuttle, if that's what you were asking.
Yes.
One more, and my memory fades with age. Is this where the car wash was? Is that down on?
I don't know if it's exactly the same spot, but yes, the
Pretty
parking
close.
garage will be in that area where the car wash is.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear? Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Yes. Regent Kinney?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B9 seeks the board's approval to allocate $9.1 million toward the project planning phase of Project Health. This funding will support the expense for campus consultants to complete program validation work and develop the program statement. Funding for this planning phase comes from private philanthropic support. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B9?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Chancellor?
Thank you. Just very briefly, just to remind all that this is derivative to the action of the board on the 5th of October of last fall to authorize preparation for the program statement for the first phase of this project. And it's completely consistent with what was authorized at that time, number one. And number two, as you said, it's completely supported philanthropically.
Thank you. Anyone else? Call the roll.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kinney?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B10 seeks the board's approval to execute a standard GMP contract for the core building at UNMC. This $72.6 million contract with McCarthy Building Companies is within the approved project budget of nearly $105 million. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B10?
Second.
Any discussion? Question? Having none, please call the roll.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Shear?
Yes.
Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11B11 seeks the board's approval of a program statement to add a residence hall at UNMC. This $65.9 million project would accommodate approximately 300 residents in studio, one-bedroom, and two-bedroom units. Funding will come from the university's internal lending program to be repaid back from rental lease revenues. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B11?
So moved.
Might invite Chancellor Gold to make a few comments.
Well, again, thank you, President Kaborik. The planning for this and the initiative for this really came through our student government under the leadership of Regent Schultes and her predecessors. That resulted in an extensive survey with a very, very large percentage participation by our students, not only in terms of what size units they would want, but also the duration of the leases and establishing what would be a fair and acceptable price point. All of that resulted in an extensive review of what opportunities were, what the size of this would be, and I can tell you that given the cost of housing surrounding the Med Center these days, and in many ways we are our worst enemy in driving up real estate prices significantly in the surrounding areas, safety of travel, as was already pointed out by Regent Wilmot, that this is just a de minimis representation of the total demand for our now over 4,500 students that live and work and study in the proximity of the Med Center. I defer the question that you raised earlier, Regent Kenny, to our Vice Chancellor for Business Finance and Business Development, if I may.
Thank you. So yes, the properties that have been identified that would need to come down in order to make way for this type of a property are properties the university currently owns. They are part of the Gold Coast Historic Neighborhood. That is an honorific designation. Again, these are properties that do have, a historical background, and so by no means do we want to, degrade that historic significance. However, these 7 properties currently provide housing for up to 13 students and families. So again, this is a matter of making way for approximately 300 students, and they are properties that we currently own. We could look at other ways to accommodate that housing need within the properties the university owns. However, if we do that, we currently are planning for this property to be available in the fall of 2026. If we are to delay at this point and try to identify a different footprint for the building we are programming, that would probably be at least a year delay before we would be able to accommodate, again, another incoming class of students on our campus. So again, they are part of a district that is historically recognized, and that is a national designation. It is not part of a locally recognized historic district and does not have federal protections.
If the houses are in good shape, have you explored severing them from the real estate and allowing individuals to take and move and relocate them to another neighborhood?
We could pursue that. Again, that would be part of that year-long delay.
That way, at least they wouldn't be demolished. If they're worth salvaging, somebody may step up and want to relocate them.
Absolutely.
And how big is that district?
It goes from, I believe it's Jones up to Cummings.
Like 100 houses?
Yeah, it's a very narrow. It goes very far north and south from the campus, but it's a very narrow east-west designation.
Yeah. Regent Schultes.
I want to say thank you to Dr. Gold and to Vice Chancellor Barnes. Like was mentioned, this was very much something that students have brought up, continue to bring up. We have town halls. This is the most pressing issue is housing. And so this is kind of the first of maybe a few housing options that you will see brought up. But this is needed, and as you can see on 242, page 242, that shows kind of the locations of it and where those houses that they were brought up kind of are located as well. I'm not saying it solves every problem, but it solves a huge problem that students have. And we thank the administration for listening to us and working so hard to get this done and really take into account every comment, all the feedback that students have put in to get this done.
Well, at the end of the day is I look at things, are they either net negative or net positive? And I know there's some drawbacks and some negatives that go along with it. But on the other hand, it would appear to me that the positives probably far outweigh the negatives.
I saw in the materials that talked about, I can't remember the exact wording, market value or something like that on the rentals. When you're saying that, what are you saying? What amounts are you probably looking at to start out?
So part of this is as we finalize programming and we determine exactly the number of studio apartments, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, you're talking about something that's probably in the ballpark of, $1,300 to $1,500. And again, we all understand that that is a significant price, but that is, again, and it would vary obviously between the studio, 1 and 2 bedroom, but in our neighborhood, most of the new properties that are being developed, that's absolutely in keeping with those rates.
How do those rates work for students? I know that some of the people that just recently rented in that area, and I know they're paying $1,200-1,300, but those I think are just 1 bedrooms.
Yeah, so again, this part of our process that we go through between now and when we come back for intermediate design review. But again, everything that we've looked at in the area, our rates would be in keeping with other properties that are being developed by external. The main reason that we are doing this is because we wanted this property to be exclusively UNMC students. So again, whenever students have an opportunity to look at other properties that are somewhat nearby campus, they are not exclusively our students.
Okay. Regent Shear.
I'm in favor of this, and one of the reasons is you can't make, we can acknowledge that there are pitfalls, but in order to move in a direction that keeps us moving in a direction, sometimes you have to weigh them and make the best decision. If we're going to be honest, you can look at any one of our campuses, any one of the 4. Over the years, we have purchased ground because they are all landlocked in some region. We've bought homes from individuals. These homes were bought from the public. They weren't condemned. We didn't try to use eminent domain or anything like that. They were a free willing purchase agreement to put together plots that are large enough for us to continue to expand. And you cannot continue to expand a facility either like UNO or the Med Center or any of the other 2 without trying to provide adequate housing. And this isn't adequate housing. This is a beginning of adequate housing. And there's always going to be drawbacks. There's always going to be those that are concerned about the loss of whatever it might be. I mean, if it hasn't been that long ago, if you want to remember that the university, in combination with the city of Lincoln, shut down an entire north-south street on the campus. And believe me, that wasn't a very popular move, and I wasn't on the Regents at that point in time. but it was felt for a safety reason to do that. And gosh, housing is a safety issue as well. And if we are truly wanting to attract and maintain the best and the brightest in the state of Nebraska, we want people to come and learn at the University of Med Center. We've got to be able to provide some type of housing, which we have not done, and we have to start somewhere. This is a starting point, not an ending point. And I'm sure that there'll be other concerns because by and large, everywhere we're going to go in that area is going to be residential in nature. And we've done so in a very public manner. We haven't tried to force anyone out. Everyone has been a willing seller that as we've put pieces of property together. And sometimes that takes a long time to put those hunks together. Mm-hmm. You may buy one and it may be 10 years before you get the other 3 or 4 all put together to be able to have a ground pad that allows us to utilize. And I think that's probably the case here. So I feel badly that we are demolishing any building. I don't care if it was a historical one or not. But at some point in time, if we're going to provide those things that are necessary for a university and a campus, these things will come up. And this isn't going to be the last time you look at something that is going to be an impediment to the growth of the university at whatever campus it is. If I don't have a problem, you can advertise that if somebody wants to take those buildings off, it saves us demolition costs, but I don't think I would put it as a year delay. It doesn't take that long to put an advertisement to see what people or auction them and give them an X amount of date for them to be able to move them. But I do think, just like anything else, we need to move forward.
I understand too what some of these, I forget the entity that's going to lease a certain half of these apartments. Is that right? Is there some agreement?
No, I mean, at one point, we had talked about a developer building this, and then we would have master leased a significant portion of it, but we chose, again, as I said, to do the project ourselves.
Aren't a large number of the units sort of pre-spoken for from the Scott Scholars or whatever the case might be?
So I wouldn't say a large number. So we're talking about, 300 students in this housing property. I think we've talked about maybe the potential for a Scott Scholar program that would expand to a total of 80 students. So it would be.
That's still substantial
right.
Of that.
So.
Okay.
Now, would that be on a long-term basis or just year to year seeing what they needed or?
Yes, so what we have talked about with the Scott Foundation is we've shown some concepts of what we think the building would look like, and we're going to have a follow-up meeting. We understood that before we would come back to the board for the intermediate design review, we would have to have all of that, nailed down as to what would potentially be additional capital versus what would be a long-term lease. So absolutely, to your point, that has to be figured out before we come back for IDR.
Currently, there are people who are renting in these properties?
Yes.
And are they on short-term rental? I mean,
we've provided notification. So again, most of the time we lease to our students on a year basis. And so we've made notification to all of these so that we could, again, still pursue our pretty aggressive timeline.
They've been forewarned that
they
this
have
is
been.
Coming.
That's correct.
Thanks.
Regent Stark?
The radius of about a mile around the medical center has a lot of apartments, and the rent just keeps going up and up. And the number one thing we get concerned about, we got to get our residents who, if they come here and do a residency, they often stay here. So if they don't have housing that's affordable, it can be an impediment. Not just that, but a lot of my medical students there are having trouble finding places to stay that's close and to walk. And so it's a huge, it's the number one problem by far. So I'm hugely in favor of it. And kudos to you guys for going out and doing this.
Okay. Any other comments? Regent Schultes.
Oh, no,
Saw
sorry.
you leaning in. No?
No, I'm just getting ready to vote.
All right. Please. Regent Latour.
Okay. So this is a question for the Vice Chancellor. And kind of going back to that mindset of off-ramps, As we move closer to that IDR stage, is it possible to solicit buyers of the properties until that point? Like, would the demolition have to occur before we would come back and review?
Well, I would be surprised if my facilities people haven't already started pursuing it while we've been on here, but we will look at that. One of the things that we needed to do was we needed to provide a secure boundary around the construction site. So part of the plan had been to go ahead and demolish some of the buildings in order to provide that security fencing, kind of partition all that part of campus off. So we will look at that and see. Again, I don't know what that timeline would do to our schedule.
Okay. If no other comments, please call the roll.
Regent Molino,
Yes.
Regent Peckish,
Yes.
Regent Schultes,
Yes.
Regent Latoro,
Yes.
Regent Stark,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Wilmot,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent Schaefer,
Yes.
Regent Shear.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Our final item, item 11B12, seeks the board's approval to name the ice rink at Baxter Arena the Michael Kemp Ice Rink in honor of Coach Kemp's retirement. As we all know, Coach Kemp is the godfather of our storied hockey program. He served as the first head coach, leading the team from 1997 all the way through 2009. And following his coaching service, Coach Kemp transitioned into several administrative leadership roles and helped to oversee the design and construction of several landmark campus athletic venues at UNO, including Baxter Arena. The board's facility naming policy permits granting of a waiver and naming a facility after a current employee at the request of donors who have made significant contribution to a project or program. I recommend the board exercise this option and honor Coach Kemp for his significant contribution to Mavericks athletics, UNO, and the University of Nebraska at large. This item has been reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 11B12?
So moved.
Second.
Stark and Kenny.
Stark and Kenny. Okay, great. Any discussion? Regent, I'm getting my titles mixed up. Chancellor.
I just got a promotion. Coach Cam is a legend in the world of hockey as the chair of the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. In that role, I learned his reputation travel not only Nebraska, but nationally, internationally. There's no hockey coach quite compared to what Coach Cam has achieved. So I'm extremely grateful for the donors and also our Vice Chancellor of Athletic and our Athletic Director, Adrian Dowell, leadership to bring it to fruition. So may I ask Adrian to share a little bit about our thoughts?
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Thank you, President Kaborg, for your guidance through this process. Also, thank you for your kind words, Dr. Stark. As Dr. Lee mentioned, we are requesting permission to name the ice rink at Baxter Arena in honor of Michael Kemp, quite literally one of the most influential figures in the history of college athletics and also University of Nebraska, Omaha. Just so some of his accomplishments go on record, Mike's extraordinary service to his university began as the program's first head coach. Not only did he help start the program, but he also developed our program into a power over his 12 years in the position. From the program's inaugural season in 1997 to the first year in the conference, the Mavericks established itself as one of the conference powers, and with its 2000-2001 team achieving the most single-season wins in our program's history, a record that still stands today. The program achieved 17 wins at home, which is also a record that still stands today, and finished that year 13th in the nation. His 05-06 team, in only the 9th season since the program's inception, made its first ever appearance in the NCAA tournament, which at the time was the fastest a program had ever done this in college hockey. It is very, very difficult to make the NCAA tournament in college hockey. Also rooted and strongly rooted in Nebraska tradition, during Coach Kemp's tenure, the Mavericks became one of the national leaders in college hockey attendance. The 2003 team concluded its run at the Omaha Civic Auditorium, having sold out 131 straight games, averaging over 8,300 per game. That's a tradition that still continues today. We finished this season 4th in the nation. For his coaching success, Coach has been named the CCHA Coach of the Year. He has been a finalist as Conference Coach of the Year and even National Coach of the Year multiple times. As mentioned, in 2009, he did transition to the associate AD role at UNO, serving as administrator for the hockey program, in addition to overseeing several facility projects, as President Kaborg said, including the design and build of Baxter Arena. Mike Kemp has also been involved in the national landscape in college hockey. This was crowned by his service on the Division I Men's Hockey Committee, including serving as chairman in 21, vice president of the American Hockey Coaching Association, Board of Governors, and induction to the Omaha Hockey and Omaha Sports Hall of Fame. We very much appreciate your consideration with this, and on behalf of the University of Nebraska Omaha, we enthusiastically request you approving renaming the ice rink at Baxter Arena Michael Kemp Ice, which would be publicly referred to moving forward as Kemp Ice at Baxter Arena. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I was going to ask Adrian, what's concessions like on a night at Baxter Arena when it's sold out all the time? I would think it's just a crazy number.
Are you there or not?
We had a number of record-breaking concession nights this year. As you know, the more or higher your attendance is, the more F&B goes up. And again, thanks to the visionary leadership of so many before us, concessions have started to have a tremendous impact financially at Baxter Arena and for UNO Athletics.
How many people is that?
This year, we averaged over about 6,600. Yep, again, which was, again, good for fourth in the entire country. And that's just for hockey.
What's your capacity there again?
It depends on which sport, but for hockey, it's just a little over 7,000.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Regent Stark.
Quick comment. I was honored to work with Coach Kemp from 96 on for 20-some years. And I will tell you, there's nobody in college hockey that's respected more than this man and what he's done. So we appreciate, please let him know that, how much we appreciate him.
Will do. Thank you for those words. And again, thank you to the board for your consideration of this.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Please call the roll.
Regent Peckish.
Yes.
Regent Schultes.
Yes.
Regent Latoro.
Yes.
Regent Molina.
Yes.
Regent Whites.
Yes.
Regent Wilmot.
Yes.
Regent Clare. Yes. Regent Kenny.
Yes.
Regent Schaefer.
Yes.
Regent Shear.
Yes.
Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda item. There are also a number of reports for your review.
I accept the reports listed on the agenda on behalf of the board. Before we go into closed session, we'll take a short recess. In a day in which we express a lot of gratitude for a couple of key players and teammates, I'd like to also go and express some gratitude for some other key folks here at Varner Hall. Our general counsel, Stacia Pulser, doesn't get enough credit for the tough work she has to do, and you know, it's Melissa Lee in our public affairs does a fantastic job of putting the right words in our mouth at times. And Kristen Hassebrook, who helps us build and maintain those great relationships downtown with the folks in the Capitol. And lastly, I'd like to welcome the newest member to the team here in Varner Hall, the athletic director and vice president of athletics. Say again? Oh, he's not vice president. Well, sorry.
just got promoted.
I almost gave you a promotion too, but regardless, we're excited to have you here as well as Adrian. It's great to see both athletic directors here, and maybe sometime we can have someone come from Kearney as well. So, all right, thank you. We will stand adjourned for, what, you need 10 minutes to?
Can I just
How about 12:20?
comment quickly? We have a new baby regent. I don't know how many of you know, but Regent O'Connor had a little baby girl about 2 weeks ago, 5 pounds, 5 ounces. Her first name is Evelyn.
Okay.
So I thought you should all know.
Awesome. We will take a short recess till 12:20, at which time we'll reconvene, and then we'll go into closed session. We'll go ahead and reconvene. Do we have a motion for closed session?
I move that the Board of Regents go into closed session as authorized by Section 84-1410 of the revised statutes of Nebraska for the protection of the public interest and to prevent needless injury to the reputation of persons who have not requested a public hearing for the purpose of holding a discussion limited to the following subjects: confidential personnel matters involving the search and selection of the president of the University of Nebraska, personnel matters involving members of the university staff.
Do we have a second? Call the roll.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Yes.
Regent Clare? Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent Schaefer?
Yes.
Regent Shear? Regent Stark? Regent Whites? The motion passes.
Let the minutes of this meeting reflect that the closed session shall be strictly limited to discussion of only the following subjects: confidential personnel matters involving the search and selection of the president of the University of Nebraska, and personnel matters involving members of the university staff. Before we go into closed session, I would remind our guests in the news media that the board cannot consider nor take action regarding the president's search at today's meeting. As such, following the closed session, our only order of business will be to adjourn. Dr. Gold will be participating in an additional public forums at our research and extension centers in Scottsbluff and North Platte, as well as Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture at Curtis next Wednesday, April 24th. The board will consider his potential appointment after receiving feedback from those sessions. We are now in closed session. As you leave the room, please take all recording devices and personal belongings with you.